Hi everybody, my name is Nick, notoriously known as the Bull, and I'm here with my good friend Richard Ehrlich, and welcome to another episode of Rich and the Bull, where we're here to help you think like the rich and sort out the bull so you can make smart and sound financial decisions. And today, I would always tell you, pay attention to this episode because all our episodes are really great, but this truly is fantastic because today what we are going to dive into with my good friend Rich here, in our decades of experience, how to spot a financial investment scam. Now, I know, Rich, that you've been doing this a long time, and some of the things that we talk about, I mean, we joke about, right. We kind of play off each other, and these things are pretty hilarious when we talk about some of the things that we've heard as scams, and people actually buy into them. But it truly is sad. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a victim behind that money that's been lost. So what I want to do, Rich, why don't you tell us some of the things that you've seen out there that are warning signs to people to not just walk away, but to run away?
So you're correct, Nick. The fact of the matter is that all of our programs, and the reason why we have this show is to help people sort through all the nonsense and to make smart financial decisions. But in terms of spotting a financial scam, you know, we can chuckle about it because they're so ridiculous, and we'll share a couple of examples. But it is really painful to know that people they put their trust in other people and they can't spot these things. So I'm going to share with you a few things that you definitely want to take a pen and paper and write this down. Number one, the first thing that you want to be thinking about is never, ever write a check to a person individually, but write it to a verifiable institution, a custodian, maybe an insurance company, whatever it may be, but certainly not to an individual. That's number one.
Right, and make sure that you do research on that company, right?
Critical.
You go over there should be information about them, right? There should be a way. Are they a security company? Are they registered? If it's something that's an alternative investment, you know, there's ways to go find out background on the company and information and all that stuff.
Absolutely, and those are all extremely important points, but I cannot tell you how many people I have run into where they literally write a check to an individual person, and that's red flag number one. Number two, as you mentioned, you have to be able to verify from a third-party source of what you're investing in, like you said, the stock market. Also, you know, they throw out these returns. Hey, you know, you can make this rate of return. Well, Nick, I'm not sure about you. My crystal ball is still in the shop. So anybody that's telling you that you're going to make this money down the road, that should be another red flag. And certainly, you know, we can talk about what investments, what they should return over time, but anybody that's promising you a fixed return, that's problematic. The other thing also is the exclusivity pitch. Hey, Nick, you know what? There's only a handful of people that can get you in here. You got to know somebody. It's exclusive. Right. My guy is over, whatever it is. There was a guy that did that, and he's sitting in federal prison doing 230 years. You may have heard of him, right? So the idea is you definitely want to avoid that. And the idea here is also, another point you want to keep in mind is that, you know, the person that's giving you this investment advice, do they have a license to sell what they're selling? Do they even own what you're selling? So these are some very, very critical points. A, never write a check to anybody personally. Verify what you're doing through third-party research. That's one of the things that we do on this program, is to help people flush that information out. Certainly make sure the person that is selling something to you has the license, the appropriate license, and that they maybe, you know, they own it themselves if it's so good.
Yeah, that's great that you say that, because one of the things that I've always noticed is these quote-unquote brokers that get in the middle, right? So you get an individual that the scammer has created a distribution system of individuals that will go out there and they start talking to you about this product or program, or what about this special platform? Have you seen what I'm talking about here, right? This thing pays you 5% a month, 5% a week. Oh, but you got to know somebody. Well, what you don't understand, that if somebody's making 20% a month, right, cash on cash returns, and then somebody like Warren Buffett were to come into this thing, right? He would literally own all the available cash in the world in like 3 years, right? But then they'll tell you this next part of the scam. Oh no, we don't help those kind of people. They already have money.
Right.
Or they'll ask you what your
Right.
job is, and if you work for the federal government or you're in some kind of police force or whatever, oh, we don't take you in, right? They want to check on your background and what it is that you do, what is your profession. But you're right, the exclusivity and not everybody can get in here and whatever, or it's in some obscure country, right? Oh, you got to go fly into our office in Zurich.
Right.
You got to come into England, right? You come in there, and there's this whole setup of the most beautiful furniture in the whole world that's in there, and this fantastic looking secretary, and they have all these coffee service and liquor service and cigar bar and all these things. They walk you in there. We actually knew people that did this, right? They went in there, they spent money, and then all of a sudden they said, well, something's just not right here, I want my money back. And they couldn't get anybody to pick up the phone and call them.
What a surprise.
So they get back on a plane, they fly back out there, they go back to the office, and guess what's in there?
Nothing.
There's
Oh my
nothing
gosh.
in the office, and they've moved on.
You know, it's, to me, you know, we go back to the movie Wall Street. Remember when they said greed is good? We're all human beings, and of course we want to make money. We want to make money quickly. But we have to really think through this process. Going through, what it is, you have to ask yourself, is what I'm doing make sense? I'll give you just a couple of examples. At a place that I used to live, I met a gentleman who is actually an ex-NFL football player. He's sitting down with me in the lobby, and he says, hey, can you help me review this investment? I says, okay, share with me. It's a couple of pages typed out on a Word document. I says, well, first of all, where'd you get this? Oh, it's a friend of mine from the church. Oh, very nice, good friend of yours. And I'm reading this. He wanted to put in $300,000 to promise him back $900,000 in 30 days. And what was the investment? It was a diamond mine in Nigeria. And I looked at him, and I thought, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. And he looked at me like, no, I'm serious. He says, what do you think I should do? I said, look, I don't know how you did the 440 when you were you were doing your football. I would turn and run as fast as you can. And what's amazing is that because greed is so powerful, they want to believe that I could give you I could triple my money in 30 days. The other case that we talked about, this is a guy who was sort of in the financial services industry with $2 million in his IRA account. And he says to me, well, I like some of the things you're talking about, but can I keep this investment, can I keep this investment? So tell me a little about it. He says, well, I got invited to this guy. Where is he? In England. Oh, okay. He only takes 10 clients. And as he's saying this, Nick, I'm kind of cringing. I'm like, okay. And I gave him $250,000 3 months ago, and I'm at 500 grand, so I think I'll keep that. And I'm like waiting for like the punchline. But the reality is, it goes back to these same key things. Who you're writing the check to, is it verifiable? And if you ask yourself these things, you will avoid those things. The reality is every investment has an element of risk to it, but you want to take a calculated risk. If you want to invest in Apple, okay, there's a risk there, but you have a calculated risk. So our show, the focus of what we do, and the main reason why you want to be listening to what we're talking about is to coach you through to help you make smart financial decisions that'll help you get where you want to go.
Yeah, guys, listen to what he's saying here about greed. Greed will kill you. See, people that haven't been good stewards of their money, they find out that they're older and they need to catch up. And predators understand that. You need to catch up that rate of return. So they give you what it is that you're looking for.
Right.
This is how you can make up for all the stupid things that you did in your life. This is how you can catch up for not investing sooner and putting money away. This is so you can have your dreams. And they sell you on your greed, right? That these things are going to happen. They feed into that. And, I just went with a whole group of people that went into an investment where they're investing in this Forex platform out of another country, and the traders and everybody were out of country. And I said, look, you have no control over this investment. Everybody's overseas. You're not overseas. Your investment is overseas. And not to say that you can't go into an international investment, but it does create some issues there with, right, logistics and whatever.
Well, yeah.
So one of the things that happened was when this thing had gone south and the people were asking for their money back and they weren't getting it, they were getting convinced to put more money in because they kept showing them better and better returns. And so greed got the best of them. So they went from having $100,000, for example, in the market to now having $250,000 with these traders. And all they did was they got their money up to a certain point and they took off. Now the authorities are all into this and everything. And it's like, guys, you try to warn people and you try to tell people, but they just look at you like you're a hater, right? You don't know. You don't know. I know this guy, right? I go to church with him. He's my dad's friend. He wouldn't do. It may be that the person that you know and you care about or you have a relationship, you need to think, or they're getting fooled too. I mean, I don't think that a lot of these people that you care about would purposely want to go after and try to harm you, but a con doesn't work if it's not a good con. And so you've got to understand that it's very important that it doesn't, I don't care if it's your neighbor or your family member or whatever, these are the points to take home and to do the analysis and the research, regardless if you know the people or if they're complete strangers to you.
Right, and I go back to the fact that we're all human beings. There is an emotion there, and like you talk about the fact, and which we'll talk about in another episode, of why it's just unacceptable to lose large chunks of your money along the way, because it puts you in a position where now you have to make up this money. I always tell people, if you want to invest and try to get a quick return, go to your hometown of Vegas, right? At least they'll give you free drinks, you get shows, you'll have some fun, and you have a 49% chance of winning, depending on what you're playing. So the idea here is if you can spot these things, and you can have, if you can have somebody here, just like what we're doing for you, to guide you through and say, hey, I have this question, this doesn't feel right, then guess what? By not making a bad decision, you're making a good decision along the way.
Yeah, and you guys can reach out to us. We're going to make it available. If you've got questions or comments about that, please put your comments below. Share us on your social media, right? Tell people about what it is that we're doing. If you have an investment that you're maybe looking at or you might already be in, feel free to go ahead and send that over to us. You'll see down below how to get in contact with us, and we will run it up the flagpole. And if we don't know, we'll get the answers to you so that you can make a good, sound decision. But we really appreciate you spending this time with us, Rich, and going out there with these great insights. We're so excited to bring you our next episodes, which are always talking about being at the cutting edge of having that knowledge of the very best products and services that are available to you, and being able to have this education so that you can make good, sound decisions about your financial future. So we look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Again, like us on your social media, share us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.